Hello people, if you can hear me, let me know. Trying a new setup. Hopefully you can hear everything that's going on. But if you're not here, I can understand why you wouldn't.
I could hear.
Alright everybody, we're going to be starting here in just a few minutes. We're going to get out of the green room, let everybody sort of file in. I realize that it's New Year's Eve and all. People are probably out partying, celebrating, etc. Maybe there's somebody out there willing to
Hang out.
even though you're, maybe got nothing else to do like us. It's not like we were going anywhere.
It's true.
I had an idea and it might as well happen here, folks. All right, everybody, I feel like we've waited around quite long enough. Why don't we go ahead and get this show on the road?
Dog. Cat. You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the
Hey everybody, and welcome to the show. Hey, my name is Dave. It's FFOP Radio, but it's a special crossover with Meeting of the Minds. This, Krista, she's the co-host. What we're going to be doing for you, it's a little something special maybe. So recently, we started our new homebrewing channel, Meeting of the Minds. So we're going to do a bit of a crossover. It's, as of recording, it's New Year's Eve. Maybe you'll hear some fireworks going off because we live in that part of town. But whatever, let's jump right into it. So we're going to be making a homemade honey wine for you, or a mead, with a bunch of fruit and some other stuff too. And we'll get into it in the fullness of time. So first of all, importantly, my hands, I've been touching a bunch of stuff. I'm going to get sanitized.
And hello, C&J Dev.
Hello, C&J Dev. Welcome to the show. Happy New Year, etc. I'm just getting a little rinsed off here with our bucket of Star Sand solution.
They say best wishes to everyone for the new year. Hopefully next year will be better than this year was.
Let's hope. But everybody says that every year, and by and large it is. There are outliers, but you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what are we doing here? What is all this stuff? Is this your first time home brewing or learning about mead? Maybe it is. So we're going to take it kind of slow, and we're also going to be drinking. This is a little home brew we whipped up. I call it the Tropical Fiver, if you're a big salmon fan. It's definitely a fiver. It's not a sixer. Ugh. It's okay.
It's not bad.
I think I used the wrong honey for such a tropical beverage. You live and you learn.
Yep.
Anyway, what we have here is a 3-gallon fur monster. And what we're going to be doing, and why I chose this, is because number one, it's got a huge lid or a huge opening, so we can throw all of our fruit in there. But its huge size will also allow for the fruit and the headroom that we're going to have to leave, because we're not going to fill this baby to the top, which I'm okay with, because we're going to have a bunch of gas and stuff from the fermentation to keep all the bad stuff out.
Yep.
One other thing I like about this, you may have seen this before, but it comes with a spigot. So when your lees cake or your yeast and all your particulate from your fruit or whatever you put in it go to the bottom, this will hopefully slurp up just above it, so you won't get so much in your next racking. But so let's maybe back up a little bit, talk about what we're making recipe wise. Now it's kind of going to be on the fly, because I'm not exactly sure how much of each thing we're going to use. Literally almost everything except like nutrient and nutritional yeast. I know how much we're going to use of that. Make sure your plug or your spigot is always turned to off.
Yeah, you don't want a mess.
Well, nothing's happened bad yet, but you never know. All right, make sure that's really good in there. So, first thing I want to do is put a little water in here, because when we put the honey in to mix it up, I want it to go straight into water instead of sitting on the bottom of the fermenter. It's up to you. It doesn't matter either way. This is just how we're going to do it. So I'm thinking of using either a gallon and a half or 2 gallons of water for a couple of reasons. And I'll tell you after this sort of is done sloshing. That's good. Couple of reasons. Because I'm going to be putting this, which is 3 pounds of wildflower honey from Arizona, and also this, which is I don't know how much, which is left over from a back sweetening thing, but it's the same stuff, except this was a little pochade. I'm not worried about it though. So what we're going to do is also use our scale to see how much we're putting in from this, because I know how much this is. Again, it's 3 pounds, but I want to know how much this is, and that'll dictate how much water we use, whether it's a gallon, or rather a gallon and a half or 2. So Chris, if you want to grab that scale.
And also, for those that don't know, bochet means like cooked honey.
Oh yeah. Bochet is you can either boil your honey on the stove and get it caramelized, or you can use an immersion circulating cooker or whatever, however you need to do it. It's just a caramelized version of normal honey. So we got our scale here. I'm gonna throw this baby on and zero it out. I don't imagine we have a whole lot in here.
It's probably like maybe a pound, probably not even that.
Yeah, we're definitely under a pound. But that's okay. I typically want 2 pounds of honey watered to a gallon in my must. But I'm not going to be super worried about the honey content because we've got a bunch of fruit, like I said, we're going to be putting in this. There's going to be an apple and blueberry recipe. What's up?
Ryan Maxwell says, just popping in for a second while making dinner. So glad we became friends this year and wishing you Happy New Year. Hope you get to watch the big shoe drop tonight at midnight. Hashtag Wollengate 2023.
Yeah, classic, Dick Clark's Rockin' Shoe Year's Eve for Wollengate.
Jameson says, I thought it was Adam Sandler's character in The Waterboy. Boucher?
Oh, yeah, okay, maybe. All right, I gotcha. Whoa, guess what? This might be a pound. We got 15 ounces, 15.9, 15.8. We'll call it. So what we're going to do is we'll call it a pound. Because what I'm going to do is going to pour some water in here to get all this honey out. And I'm willing to call it, a 1/10 of an ounce is in here. Bingo. So yeah, we're going to be over, deliciously over. Look at all that. That's probably
an ounce.
Half an ounce maybe. We're not going to get rid of it. And all this water is like room temperature too. Sometimes you forget, you put them in the fridge, and it's not a big deal. Our fruit is going to be really cold because it's been frozen. I'll just show you.
We bears like honey, says Jameson.
What did he say?
He said, we bears like honey.
Oh God, the innuendo. So here's the thing, guys. I got 4 Lucy Rose apples, which we've used before in the Juicy Lucy sizer. Came out awesome, and since they are roughly berry inspired, by way of flavor, I wanted to do something I haven't done before. I wanted to do an apple raspberry, maybe some peppers. Couldn't find any raspberries or enough that I would be satisfied. So what I got here is 3 pounds of blueberries. So, and they were leaking.
Oh, yeah.
So ideally, what I'm gonna do is get all of these apples into this brew bag, which is still wet with star sand, and then throw as many blueberries in that bag as I can. If they all fit, they'll all go. If not, we'll leave out some blueberries and I'll eat them.
Ryan Maxwell was showing himself out after saying, how about you make a mead called Trapper Keeper? I would do it.
I mean, here's the thing. They're like, half of the fun, right, is naming them, but you do it about it 2 ways. Sometimes I think of a really great name and I go, I need to think of a recipe to backpedal into that name. And sometimes we just write down because I don't have a name for this one yet. It's just blueberry apple mead. I don't know what I'm gonna call it. Sometimes you gotta taste it. Other times, you just get hit by the inspiration of whatever it is.
It's true.
But again, this is 3 pounds of, this is raw Arizona wildflower honey. And I'm learning more and more. Maybe, you can take this to the bank too. I can't let that sit because it'll fall right in. But with your neutral honeys, like wildflower, clover, orange blossom to a lesser extent, they go with almost everything, but the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. No, but the darker the fruit or whatever, I say you go with a darker honey. The mesquite honey that we use goes awesome with cherries, raspberries, blackberries, dark stuff like that. But it does bring a little bit of a woodiness to it because again, it's mesquite and that's a tree. And it only really hit me that it's only really good with darker stuff. Because again, this is like our tropical fiber was a lot of light, like pineapple, kiwi, I think was in here.
Yeah.
Feels a little much.
And I asked him when I took a sip before we started, I was like, what is in this?
Should have been orange blossom, lesson learned again.
Blappleberry.
Blappleberry. Oh yeah. That's the thing. my mind always goes to alliteration, so or portmanteau or whatever. Mnemonic devices are my thing, so I usually think of what's in it and go, oh, what would be a hilarious play on words?
I'm gonna pour this in.
Do it. Now, let's just say we're going to be doing 1.5 gallons of whatever we're doing. So, Krista, why don't you add our dry ingredients to that thing too, which is Fermax. I know everybody hates that, but it's Fermax, not Fermado and not Fermade K and not Fermatorium or Fermicelli. It's just Fermax. If you think it's cheap, I'm sorry. It probably was because I got it on Amazon. Anyway, that's our yeast nutrient, which we're also going to use nutritional yeast because yeast are cannibals. They're going to eat those bad boys up.
Give me some water.
Oop.
Blueberry sounds like a winner. I'm drinking pineapple whiskey. Would go better with pepperoni pizza. Am I right? Says Jameson.
Yeah, you're always right. When you're talking about pepperoni pizzas, especially when the small is as big as a large.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing about blueberries. It is a delightful flavor and color, but like the croissant or scum that blueberries produce is off the charts weird. Like these blueberries are almost black at times and they'll make the brew super dark, but they always put off this like foamy white scum that's like pukatronic. So we're going to do 1.5 teaspoons of all of our stuff.
Okay.
Even if we do 2 gallons, whatever, I don't care. I'm not worried. Because they're going to eat the fruit. And they love to eat these fruits. And I'm not going to put peppers in this one, although maybe by the end I might. We'll see what happens.
Happy New Year, Ryan Maxwell. Enjoy your dinner.
Happy New Year indeed. Glad you could join us. Anyway, let me get this shaken. We'll get the scale out of here too. Oh, so yeah, every time and here's the thing too, if you go to, I'll show you, at our local brew store, you can buy your honey by the pound and it'll be cheap because they'll put it in a bag like this. I asked for 5 pounds, they gave me 2 bags. This is a 3-pound bag and then they gave me a 2-pound bag too. I wanted them in the same bag, but he's like, here you go. And I go, whatever. But it's like $6 a pound at the brew store.
Yeah.
Albeit you have to deal with the bag. But like, I think this,
That's probably $12.
Yeah, you're running between $7 or $8 a pound at the store. So,
Yeah.
Brew stores, they typically have deals with local apiists or whatever. I'm not sure where they get this, but because there's a couple local, like in Avondale there's one up in...
Meaderies.
No, apiaries.
Oh, apiaries.
Yeah, there's one up in Flagstaff, which has my favorite honey, so I don't know if this comes from the same guy or not. I don't imagine there's a huge...
There's so many local honey sellers out here, but I don't know if they're apeists also.
And also, you don't know who is getting their honey from who, because like if the dude just has a whole bunch of beehives and he just sells it to whoever, like the person who sells it up the road at like a ridiculous markup, I guarantee it's the same thing. But $30 a pound or whatever is ridiculous, artisanal or not. Raw, unfiltered, that's another thing too. This is a tip that, I heard that is pretty true, but if you go to a farmer's market or any, small, where somebody's, picking vegetables out of their garden or bringing them or collecting their own honey or whatever, we went to, we're there at them all the time basically, but the most recent one, they were charging $15 for 12 ounces of honey, which is insane. It was good, but with a markup like that, it feels like they don't own their bees. People who own their bees, it's relatively cheap. Considering what we're looking at here. Anyway, let's put the rest of our water in because our honey is pretty much all out of our jars. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put it into 1.5 gallons, roughly. I'm going to eyeball it, and then we're going to start mixing it up with our giant spatula or our paddle. Then we're going to get a gravity reading, a specific gravity reading. And what that'll tell us is, man, it's splashing everywhere, how much sugar is in here. And what I'm shooting for is 1.100 to 1.1010 or whatever, something binary or whatever.
1.10101.
Yeah, I something to be around 13-14%. Sometimes I'll go crazy because I know that I don't want to deal with back sweetening later. I'll put the whole 3 pounds in up front.
And the way you can calculate the percentage of alcohol is we take a starting gravity, and then when it's done fermenting, you take another gravity, the final gravity, subtract it, multiply it by either 135 or 131.25, depending on the person, and you get your
depending on the
approximate.
Yeah, because each formula is for a different alcohol by volume ratio. So if you're making something in the cider or ale or whatever, like 9% or below, it's one formula. If it's over, it's another. And we use points because the hydrometer uses points. It's easier for me to read anyway, but you can also use bricks. But I don't know, points just seem easy. You can say, well, water is 1.000 flat.
Yep.
So every point of gravity is so much sugar. So points are easy to take care of. So 100 points, you can say it chewed through 100 points. I don't know anything about bricks. If you do, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, here's all our wildflower. Hopefully it's getting mixed up. Now, you know, science says the oxygen in here that I'm introducing is going to help the yeast, but personal experience has told me even if you don't do jack and just put the honey in the water, it'll still get done. For these science people out there, I understand, it does, yeah. They're living organisms, the yeast are. They're going to want that oxygen, but I don't know how much you can dissolve into water by just doing this. It doesn't seem to make much of a difference, especially because there are people out there who ferment under pressure, which means the CO2 that the yeast produce never get out.
Right.
So what does that mean?
And so the reading that we're taking is of just the honey in the water. When we add the fruit, we can't calculate how much sugar is in the fruit. So that's just a added bonus of sugar.
Technically, we could do the math. I mean, the apples we use probably have a basic sugar content per apple, and the blueberries are definitely labeled because they are in a package. But even if we took all of those numbers, it would not be right still because we're probably not going to extract 100% of the sugars out of those fruit.
Right.
We'll probably get everything in the honey because it's easily available, but stuff that's locked away behind cell walls, even though they've been frozen, I doubt we'll get 100% of what's available in there.
Right, no, probably not.
But you know, who knows, we might. Man, this stuff's going crazy just because I'm bad at sloshing. Okay, I think that's mixed up enough. We're gonna take a gravity reading and find out. You know, what I'm shooting for is 1.100. 100 points of gravity to get us, if it goes dry, to about 13%. I don't know, as I worry about, I guess it doesn't matter because whether we back sweeten or not, I'd probably end up pasteurizing it anyway, just to keep it from
And that's what seems to
surprising us.
Yeah, works for us.
Okay, so we're only at, ooh, I don't think I'm gonna add any more water because we're not even gonna make 1.100. It's a little foamy, but I think we're at 1.084.
And then with that stuff.
Right, so that's what, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna sweat it too much because yeah, there is gonna be a lot out of there, even though we did miss our target here. That's the thing, we're sort of going off of no recipe and I'm looking to use up a couple odds and ends.
Well, it's not, you know, much different from what we usually do.
Not wildly, but like do some quick math. If that goes dry with 84 points of sugar, what are we looking at ABV wise? Because if 100 points is 13%, we're maybe looking at 11, which means we'll still be in the wine territory. Wine's typically like 10 to 14, 13,
11,
14.
almost 11.5%.
All right, so with our sugars from our fruits, we'll probably get up to 12 or 13. The only reason I'm being so nitpicky about it is because below 10% ABV, once it's done fermenting, it's easier for things to grow in there like bacteria, and you can get a vinegar infection.
Yeah.
At 10, 11, 12, it gets harder, not impossible, but it does get harder.
I think, especially with those apples, there's plenty of sugar.
I think it'll be fine. It's just I wanted to be somewhere and I'm not. So here's the brew bag. Again, it's wet with Star San. We're gonna put the apples in first because they're the most important. And these are Juicy Lucy's. I don't know if you can see that, but they're
Lucy Rose.
Lucy Rose. Sorry, our Juicy Lucy Sizer is what I was thinking of. Yeah, even the apple juice that's coming out of these babies is a nice pink.
Yeah, it's crazy. These
Ooh.
apples are crazy.
And here's the juices. Oh, okay. Oh, baby, just like that. So what we did was, these were fresh apples. I mandolined them up super thin, froze them, and
There's 4 of them?
there's 4 of them in there, yes. So now we got these leaky ass blueberries. And this is 3-pound bag that we're gonna try and squeeze olive into, and I think we're probably gonna be more than
It'll be fine.
enough room. Dear sweet mother of God, why do these packages all have to open differently? There we go. Oh boy, yeah, those are blue. You guys get a blueberry? Oh, whoa, you guys can't see this, but
They're
whoa!
blue. They're blue. They look, the juice is purple.
All right, here we go. Come on, baby. Ooh. Oh, baby. Yeah, we're gonna get all these in there. Oh, what a mess. Zip.
This is why we use a brew bag. Because if we didn't use a brew bag, we'd have to rack through all of this fruit after it's like a sludge in 2 weeks.
Yeah, the pectic enzyme on this show is somewhat rich in history, but I'm probably going to use it just for the blueberry's sake, because those are untouched by human hands essentially. The skins are intact, and the apples are really available, which is going to make a slurry.
Alice and Marie Armstrong, oh my God, it's my mom and dad.
Hey guys, come on
Hey.
in. We're just making some holiday wine when Aunt Selma and Uncle Sandy come down for Christmas from up north.
I know they're blueberries. What I'm saying is they might not be blueberries. While all blueberries are blue, not all blueberries are blueberries. It's Jameson.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't know what I'm looking at. And here's the thing, too. If you want to get precious about it, I've heard, and these aren't the ones that are supposed to be great, but there are, like, farmed blueberries and wild gathered blueberries, which is, it's weird to think that anything is being gathered in the wild on such a large scale that they can market that. Like,
Right.
orchards and everything else, like fish farms, they have to like keep the supply going. But the fact that there's some companies that like, in my head, have like 20 workers all with like big sun hats and like, they look like the Sun-Made Raisins lady with the big basket. They just go out there picking blueberries all day. But it's probably some downtrodden, migrant worker or something. So you don't want to think about it too hard, I suppose.
No.
But since we did get some juice in here, maybe we will take a second gravity reading
Just for ha-has.
I mean, not that it'll.
Oh my gosh.
But look at that color. You see it?
It's purple. He's purple.
It's purple. This is, well, we call this, we'll talk about it later. Might be disrespectful.
Maybe.
We'll just call it he's purple. Just giving our sanitizer a little, well, not sanitizer, but our graduated cylinder and everything, a little dip in the sanitizer.
A little dip.
Not that it would have mattered, but there might be, diluted sugars or whatever. And here's the thing, it's good just to get into the habit of sanitizing everything after you use it. Like we do multiple rackings in a day. Like there's 3 or 4 carboys over there right now that all need to get racked. And, maybe you don't have to be this safe, but I always rinse everything out, give it a good brush if it needs it, throw it back through the sanitizing liquid, get everything killed, because...
We don't want to get killed.
Well, no, not only that, but like, it's just a matter of flavor transference and like protein sticks inside the tube and like, I don't know. It's just, even if it feels stupid, I'll do it just to be like, well, who's it gonna kill, right? So let's test this purple stuff. My purple drink. Oh my God, this is cough syrup. This looks like Robitussin for sure.
Grape Robitussin, my mortal enemy when I was a child.
Yeah,
I didn't like grape.
I always wanted Triaminic. That's the orange flavor.
Yeah, I would always go for red or orange way before purple. Blech. Even
right, did this do anything?
when I was a kid, I used to eat Flintstones vitamins, and I would secretly throw all the purple ones away because I did not like
What was this before?
1.084.
Whoa, we gained 2 points of gravity. It's 1.086 now.
Whoa. I'm going to write that down.
Just, that's the measurable sugar, so we might as well. It released 2 points, and which is not insubstantial, right? Because we have 1.5 gallons of liquid, and just the juice that escaped the...
There wasn't a lot of juice.
The fruit, 2 points over a gallon. And what probably is going to happen too is these fruits are going to lose basically all their moisture as the yeast eat them, and so it'll be nothing but pulp, and we're probably going to be over 2 gallons with this recipe. I can almost feel it in my bones.
That's a lot. 3 pounds of blueberries, a lot of blueberries, and a potential for a lot of blueberry juice.
Yeah, and our last
Plus the
recipe,
apples.
which we just had to rack off screen because it was like everything was falling apart. We got everything, it went into whatever, we used 6 gallons of juice, so we filled 6 gallons worth of carboy. But after all is said and done, if I had a press and a filter or whatever, we probably could have got another 1.5 gallons out of this thing. So whatever, it kind of feels like a waste, but most of it's slurry and slop.
Yeah.
But that's it. So a couple other things to think about is additives in that aren't fruit or honey, because this I kind of want a couple of things possibly. I either want to stick a couple of peppers in here because I always want to stick peppers in everything.
He does.
Maybe some pectic enzyme, but also in secondary, and you can do this in primary too, maybe a little vanilla. That tends to...
I think that would be really good with...
tone things down. So maybe instead of the pepper, because we got so much going and I don't want to be a one-note fool, we'll just save this as is. Throw some vanilla in secondary if it needs it, and probably will. All of my best recipes end up revolving around pie flavors that I throw peppers in. So it's my hot pie series. I've got a great hot peach. We have the cherry bomb, magnifique, the sizzling sizer, which is the apple. Wonderful stuff. So I'm starting to put some chocolate in this peanut butter, as it were. So I've got this and the cherry apple going up.
If this does yield 2 gallons, we could put 1 gallon with vanilla and 1 gallon with pepper.
Right, and that's a good thing about these bigger batches too, because when you've got so much to play with, I often do that. I'll keep 1 gallon as nature, or however I intended it, and the other one I'll throw, whatever horrible ingredients I've got back there, like toasted marshmallow extract, which I did. Who knows how that's going to turn out? Or I'll pasteurize half and not the other to see what's going on. We're always tinkering. But yeah, we could do a half vanilla, half pepper, but all that'll come out later, because this thing is going to need anywhere, depending on how fast the yeasts go, obviously. And I don't like to leave, I guess there's a hard limit.
Like
not
a week.
Hard limit.
Or
10 days. I don't like to go longer than 10 days. If I have to, I don't beat myself up over it. But 10 days is basically, in my experience, everything in there is given up as much as it's going to.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time is just going to be sloppier and sloppier.
Pickled pepper blueberry brew. Say that 10 times fast.
I wouldn't put a pickled pepper in there, but a regular pepper, because you don't want to introduce vinegar or acetobacters.
I'm still trying to figure out in my mind a good recipe with jalapenos. I'm determined Because we tried a mead that had jalapenos in it from a place up north, and it was not.
It was okay. Like the guy said it was earthy and he was right. The problem with green peppers, I think, is they are too
Green.
earthy. Let's just call it that. They taste like mud, but we'll call it earthy to be nice. They're too down, they're too damp, they're too muddy. The pepper you needs to be a bright color. It's got to be a red pepper or a orange pepper or something on the brighter color scheme.
Yeah, so we tried one with jalapenos, and we were like, that. It tasted like grass to me. But then yesterday we tried a mead that was hatch green chilies.
And vanilla. And here's the thing.
I couldn't drink it.
Whatever. Like some recipes you go, whoa, I can't believe that worked. Because it doesn't seem like it will. But the problem is, a lot of it's like, does it work? I don't care. It's kooky, right? Like the hatch chili and I saw a guy, this is stupid and don't do this because it will go rancid. But, people are throwing hot dogs in their stuff, Mountain Dew.
People are making, people are,
Anyway.
the Mountain Dew phase is a thing.
Whatever. I get it. Like, we have a bunch of crazy stuff percolating back there.
Like the green one?
The green monster is going to come out soon.
I looked in there and it's getting clear
It's
green.
getting clear, but it's not good. If you know the story, you know. If you don't, we'll tell you it one day. But anyway, the yeast I decided to use for this, since it's going to be apple, one of two ways. For darker juices and berries, I like to go with Premier Rouge, Red Star Premier Rouge, because it really maintains that whatever the red berries and cherries bring. The Cuvée was recommended for apples, and it nails it, because I think we use it on the Juicy Lucy.
I think so.
It really loves apples, and I love it. So we're going to go with the Cuvée, because it's, flip a coin. It was apples and blueberries, people.
And each yeast packet is usually about 5 grams. They say you can use 1 gram per gallon. We just use about a half of a packet per brew. They're like $1.29 a packet.
That's the thing.
So.
Some people use the whole packet per 1 gallon.
We used to, and sometimes we do.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. It's up to you. If you feel like, and there are tests out there. There are other channels out there that are doing tests that, like, the amount of yeast you put in does help because, and obviously it kind of makes sense if you have a bunch of sugar in there and a colony that is not prepared for it, it can stress them. So you want to put more yeast or enough yeast, but to overdo it is almost impossible because
It just kind of seems like a waste to use an entire packet.
Right, it's up
for
to
1
you.
gallon.
I've had it take off with almost nothing, and I go, well, here's good luck, and if nothing works, we'll shake something else in it. That's the thing. It's going to be up to you and how. If you think it'll work, it probably will, because like our first technical fermentation, I was trying to make vinegar, and I just put like a bunch of dried fruit in a jar with water, and in like 3 or 4 days, it was bubbling with fermentation. I didn't add any yeast or anything. That was just a wild yeast, spontaneous thing happening back there.
We did a whole bunch of mason jars full of random fruit. We did raisins, which went crazy.
I think like some of these up here are those vinegars.
Yeah, we accidentally made a gallon of blueberry apple cider vinegar.
And it worked, accidentally, but at the end it was awesome.
Yeah, we gave it away for Christmas gifts because it was so good.
All right, so now we've got the bung in place. I've tightened down the lid. The airlock is there. This is just sanitizer fluid. You can use distilled water or whatever. Some people use vodka or other spirits, which I kind of get because if it slurps back in. But with this one is nice. As long as you don't go over the max fill line, even if it wants to suck air back in, it'll only suck air and not the fluid. Whereas like the 3 pieces sometimes have an issue. Now, I didn't put any pectic enzyme in, and we were humming and hawing about that. Didn't happen. That's fine. This thing will get eaten up. I'm not worried. And technically, it'll probably save us maybe a little in the long run for cleanup. So yeah, like I said, this will probably sit there for 10 days unless I forget about it. Then it can go up to like 13 or 15. But then we'll get it off of that fruit and let it just sit in some glass for the foreseeable future, because again, I've had a little bit of trouble getting blueberries to clear. So I might throw a pepper in one, because habaneros will blast through a cloudy brew. I don't know
That's
what
crazy.
it is. Yeast love habaneros. That's the only pepper I've had any real experience with, but it works so good. I was like, well, it's like the jackpot. Why keep going back?
Yeah.
It's like the opposite experience I had with Kvike. We had some Kvike yeast, and it's like $10 a package. Whereas like this little guy, 5 gallons, $1.29. Cool. Kvike, same package, $10. So you go, Jesus, I really got to make this last and savor it.
This better be good.
That's when we tried doing, and it is. It lives up to, at least the Lutra, it lives up to its name, because our raspberry meads came out nice and bright and chipper and everything you'd want out of a fruity, fruit flavor, a berry flavored rather, beverage. I tried, because again, it was $10 per little package. I was like, okay, now's the time to try yeast washing and all that stuff. And it gets the job done, but it feels like
I feel like they stalled.
I don't know, it just feels like the lesser, like the little brother of your best friend, right? Like your best friend is awesome in your eyes, and it was perfect in every way, and it worked. And then their parents tried to do it again, came up with a little brother, and basically all the parts are there, it does the same thing, it's just not as good, and it didn't work out as well. So that's just where it is. People probably have better luck washing yeast. I wouldn't, whatever, for $10, I'll use a spoon and make sure I don't overblow it.
Right.
But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. This is gonna start bubbling since it's not too cold, maybe in a couple hours. If you follow us over on Meeting of the Minds, we'll maybe post a little short about this when it does start going, because I'm sure it's gonna start fast.
Pretty soon, yeah. And the link is pinned up in the chat for our second channel. If you want to subscribe to it, cool.
Yeah, this has just been a little teaser. If you don't know anything about homebrewing, because that's, I didn't before I bought my first kit.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I thought homebrewing was beer, and I always, beer with the mash and the boiling and the pain in the ass. But with wine and or mead making, you're not necessarily boiling it. If you get into the fancier stuff later and get some spices or do some sort of tea thing or boil your honey, that's great. But you never have to go above room temperature for any of this. You don't have to cook anything. It all just sort of happens naturally. So it might be a little bit of a demystifying experience too, because if you realize you can just throw stuff in, and barring you're not a filthy monster and you don't have crap all over the place and everything stays reasonably clean, you'll have a nice product at the end. But that's the thing, even King Cobra can produce alcohol and get wasted. So even if it doesn't work or is great, you can still at 10 days drink a sloppy gravy and get plastered.
I cannot imagine what that tastes like when he drinks those. Not that he cares, because alcohol is alcohol to him, but
the amount of funk. Here's the thing, with some fruits, watermelon is a huge offender, strawberries, peaches can do this sometimes. They have a new fermentation funk.
And I think the yeast that gets paired with them make it better or worse also.
It probably has something to do with it, but I think there's just a lot of fruit out there that their cellular structure, or they're too starchy or whatever, because these apples will fall apart, but the berries will stay intact, no problem.
The strawberries, if you ferment strawberries, they lose all their color.
And they're real starchy and there's no skin, so they turn to gravy.
And when you drink
barf.
it, and it's young, it tastes like popcorn. The aftertaste is like a bready popcorn. It's weird.
Yeah, and that's gotta be because of all the starch in the strawberry, because it feels like they are sort of trying to make a bread?
This feels like trying to balance the water in my hot tub. I'm wondering if a habanero pepper would save me some trouble. Try it.
Try it. It'll burn one place especially.
Yeah,
if
maybe
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
From the waist down.
Don't go in.
Watch out for that. But yeah, that's the thing. We're here in the Southwest, and it's. I don't want to say it's like a point of pride, but I could out eat most of the Hispanic day laborers that I worked with, and I was an electrician, like spice-wise. So I go, yeah, I got it. It's on lock. I love spicy things. So I want to just throw peppers into everything.
It's true, he does. He made, I think one of the first meads that we made that had habaneros, aside from the cherry bomb, was a dragon fruit one. Dragon's breath, we ended up calling it. I can't even drink it. I can't drink it. It's so hot. It gives me the worst heartburn, and I just want to die.
It's okay. The problem is the dragon fruit is so light
Mild.
of flavor and mild. It does just feel like does feel like dragon's breath. It is someone. It's like, you know, in like the reboot, not the reboot, but like the new school Godzilla, where he like shoots his atomic breath into that monster's mouth and his body falls off and he's just holding the head. It kind of feels like that if you're not into spice.
Also, cheers, Matt. Hello, Matt.
What's happening, Matt? But yeah, like that's the thing. I've got some red peppers that I just threw in. We've got some.
I'm determined to try and figure out a way that I can get a jalapeno to taste good. And I think I want to try it in a wine so I don't waste good honey. If I try it in wine first, that's just water and fruit and sugar's cheap, and I'd rather mess that up than mess up a whole, 3 to 5 pounds of honey.
I don't think it's doable, man. I just don't think. Like,
I'm determined.
there are certain colors that need to be.
But I think it needs
acceptable.
to be paired with the right thing. And I think pineapple was not the right thing for when we tried the jalapenos. Because you didn't taste the pineapple at all. You just tasted grass.
I mean, you kind of did, but that's going to be the problem, is like trying to figure out what flavors complement each other when you're trying to think outside the box. And everybody is going to have the same basic recipes. You'll have a Viking's blood, you'll have a blueberry, you'll have a peach, every sort of thing. And so everybody who's looking to make a name for themselves is going to try and find the angle that makes them, the breakout, the new kid on the block. And I don't think there's much you can do. You have to find something that works and do it well. Because a common thing done well is better than an exotic thing just done.
Yeah, like when we tried the hatch chili and vanilla one yesterday, David was like, I feel like this was made as a joke.
It had to have been. It feels like a grass jelly bean or a booger jelly bean from Harry Potter.
Right, that's what I said yesterday. And it tasted like I was eating just a hatch chili on a plate that like David cooked on the grill.
But the honey gave it a sickly sweetness that was also like gross.
I didn't get any of that.
No, that's what I'm saying. You have to, some of it is trial and error, but nature gave us a color palette. So when I stumbled upon cherry, mesquite, habanero, and all these things that just sort of come together, I don't think that, I had enough experience to go, the mesquite will bring a sort of savory, woody sweetness that will tamper the habanero and also sort of elevate the cherry into a smoky sort of marmalade or something you'd get on like a barbecue. But I only figured that out after I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll try it with orange blossom. And the body was gone. The enjoyability was gone. The heat was there. The sweetness was there. But it didn't have, the magic was gone. It's kind of like a Keurig. When you're used to like a really good hand ground coffee and you switch to a Keurig, like it looks, smells, and maybe feels the same, but it's dead inside. Like it's a human being where all the organs have been sucked out and replaced with like balloon animals. Yeah. It just isn't right. And that's what you just have to realize is find a recipe that is not stupid. You can go crazy, but don't get stupid. Stop putting green things in necessarily. Whatever. Green apple. There's ways you can get, but peppers, they need to be bright and hot, otherwise you're going to get low and dirt.
We'll see. Maybe we'll have a random video of me being stubborn and wanting to try it, which it will probably
have the jalapenos, so we have to do something with them. I'm okay with experimenting.
We're gonna.
I just don't have any hope that it's going to produce anything that's worth a shit. Like the green monster, the sour apple, sour caramel apple
yeah.
toffee we used to make a thing. I go, haha, this will be fun. It costs 14 cents to make. And now it's a disaster. And I don't want to do anything with it because it's been a pain the whole way. It's stankin'.
Oh my God, it smells so bad.
It stank during pasteurization. It stinks to this day. All the off-gassing is gone. It's, every sort of new fruit funk all came together in that. And I see why, because it was basically the wrong thing to do. It was breaking all the rules. Taffy has probably animal fat in it. And so that's what the scum on the top was. We lost like a huge chunk of it because I had to get the choicest bits out of the center, which aren't very choice. They're disgusting. The whole thing is a disaster.
It's funny because that is super green. We made our mean green drink, which was, I had my own this is gonna be weird. I don't think this is gonna come out good because it was just
those naked juices that have spinach and they look like a big thick green grass or what type of grass is that? Wheatgrass?
Wheatgrass.
Look like that.
And I was like, I don't have high hopes for this. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be gross. It came out really good.
Yeah,
for what it is.
It came out all the color dropped out of it. That's just one of the things you got to learn is most colors will drop out of the stuff. The blue will stay, but most things. They end up yellow or something amber like this.
But the green monster is still green.
Barely. It's got a very little tinge.
It's
the green monster, yeah.
Yes, the green monster. It reminds me of just what a green Jolly Rancher looks like. Kind of, it's transparent.
It's an unnatural abomination.
Yeah, it's not normal.
I don't want to drink it. And I shouldn't have showed anybody because the first thing everybody said was when are you drinking it? And my first answer was never. I'm going to get rid of it because it seems like a bad idea. And it is.
We have to do
it is a bad idea, but we're going to drink it.
Especially because Allison wants it.
Everybody wants it. That's the thing. More people want to see others ingest something horrible than something beautiful. If I hold up, when this is done and it's a sparkling amethyst jewel in a glass, right? Maybe we'll even keg it and make it sparkling and it just looks like this perfect, effervescent, oh wow, it just looks like happiness in a glass. Everybody go, oh, that's cool. Now, when are you gonna drink the toilet one? Because that's what, and I get it. I used to watch a coworker eat Hungry Man dinners with glee every day because you want to see someone eat a train wreck.
And now we're one of those people.
Yeah, all right. I guess that's all we got. So that's it. Really quick, if you have been paying attention, super easy recipe. We used 4 pounds of honey, 3 pounds of blueberries, 4 Lucy Rose apples, 1.5 gallons roughly of water, teaspoon and a half of all of our yeast nutrients, no pectic enzyme because I said screw it. Is that it? We didn't throw
and then
anything?
a half a pack of Red Star Cuvée yeast.
Yeah.
The blue pack.
Premier Cuvée.
Premier Cuvée.
Like there's any other.
There's not. There's only 5 different kinds of Red Stars, I think.
And I talked about this before too. You can notice how the bag is floating. I've got fermentation weights. It doesn't matter. It will float in perpetuity.
Yeah.
So every day I'm just gonna have to give it a slosh to make sure the top gets wet and mold doesn't grow. However, this is gonna pump out so much CO2 so fast, it'll be an anaerobic environment and most bacteria can't live in that.
Right.
Because we got a yeast infection, not a bacterial infection. And that's all I got for you. So we'll check in and see how this goes along the way on the other channel. We've got some other projects going as well that I think you're going to enjoy too. So thanks for joining us in this experiment. We'll see you over there for more of this, but for more of our same stuff, you can keep it locked in here.
Sure.
Check out Kevin Gregson. He's a douche.
Oh my God, I can't handle him. Yep, he is.
Have a good one, guys. We'll see you in the new year, 2024.
Happy New Year.
Cheers, people. I gotta walk all the way over here to turn off the show.
Bye.
We will. Oh, God, the light. Yeah, I'm out of here. Bye.
Bye.
try to